Nebraska is home to immigrants from all over the world. This immigrant community has embraced the American dream and has given newcomers a place to call home over the last 150 years.
In the United States, especially small ones like ours, were built by immigrants. After World War I and World War II, we had quite a bit of influx of a Czech population and German and Irish and things like that. And the community has always welcomed them, much like they are our Hispanic and Latino community.
This morning, faced with the very real possibility of a potential immediate shutdown of the entire DACA program by a federal court, President Trump took the responsible and constitutional step of announcing that the administration will be phasing out the program over the next 2 years.
On September 5, 2017, the Trump administration announced the end of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, better known as DACA. It's protected 800,000 DACA recipients who came to this country with their parents from being deported. More than a third of Crete's 7,000 residents are Latino, many of which are young DACA recipients who are in fear of what their future holds. Crete high school student Jose Cardoso came to the U.S. with his parents from Mexico when he was an infant. He is a DACA recipient, also referred to as a dreamer. Cardoso fears that he could be deported.
Because, like my mom says, I don't have any family in Mexico, so I'd go to a place with no family and I wouldn't be able to recognize anything. Like last time I was there, I was 1, and she says that it's really dangerous over there. It's really bad that people wake up the next morning dead.
Crete high school student Malin Espinoza is also a dreamer. She says she worries about what her future holds.
Yeah, it really scares me. Mine expires in October of next year, so I'm not allowed to renew it for the next 2 years, so I'm not sure what's gonna happen. I don't know what my future is gonna look like after that, because right now my plans are to go to UNL for pre-law. How am I gonna continue my future if after they take it off, what's gonna be left?
Joel Lamus understands what many DACA recipients are going through. As a Crete high school student counselor, he has heard their stories and their fears firsthand.
Well, I'm hopeful that something will happen because, like I said, we have students not just from Crete but all over the state and all over the country that truly are contributing already or want to contribute or getting close to graduating or are just starting their college career.
Nebraska Attorney General Doug Peterson says it was unconstitutional when former President Barack Obama issued the executive order to establish DACA. Peterson was one of 10 state attorneys general who threatened legal action unless DACA was ended.
Because of that danger, I as Attorney General swore to uphold the Constitution, and when I see that executive orders start being used by presidents, whoever the president is, to expand laws, then we have to step in and say, wait a minute.
We should tell you, Lamus is also on the DACA list.
You know, like those lily pads in the lake or in the mossy water where they just have roots but they're not connected to anything. That's kind of what I feel like sometimes, is that I'm trying to hold on to something.
Because of the current DACA situation, Lamus sometimes feels like he's not wanted in America. Before another school year starts, he may be forced to leave the country. If that happens, his students fear they would be losing more than their counselor.
It really broke my heart because Mr. Lemus, he's a really important person here at our high school. And this is my last year here. I'm not gonna see him again. But I like the underclassroom. Everyone really loves Mr. Lemus because of all the help he gives them.
He's just been really helpful. So I consider him a good friend, and it'd be kind of like losing a friend.
Lamus and his family moved from Monterrey, Mexico to the United States when he was 6 years old. After Lamus graduated high school, he went to the University of Nebraska-Kearney and earned a teaching degree. He couldn't get a teaching certificate and a job that would go with it because he was not a U.S. citizen.
I went back to work with my dad at the meatpacking plant. and thought, okay, well, that was a nice little run, but now we're back to square one kind of thing.
He then went back to college and earned his master's degree in counseling, hoping something would come along in the next 3 years. When DACA was created, he was first in line to become the Crete High School counselor.
And I think it's given me the opportunity to change who I am as a person for the better, I think, and has allowed me to be in these young people's lives.
Lemus says that his version of the American dream is something that he's tried to build for the past 25 years. Now he feels like he doesn't have a place to call home.
When you want to continually prove that, you know, you're just as American as anybody else, you're just as determined and you know, and you want to better other people and you want to better your community, and because of a piece of paper, you're not allowed to do that.
Meanwhile, Crete's mayor lives in fear of what will happen to his city if Trump's threat becomes a reality.
Or like a tornado that came through and, you know, lifted people out of the community and just left empty houses, empty rental properties, you know, empty apartments, you know, just, and broken families and everything else that would go along with that.